All right, what's up everybody? This is Brenton Brown from Forza Tuning and Performance. And today's video, we're gonna hop around a little bit. At the end of the video, we're gonna race the Stage 4R Trackhawk, not the Demon Hawk, a regular Stage 4R Trackhawk that's gonna ship out to a customer next week in this bone stock 488 Ferrari. We're going to timestamp the events in the description. This was the idea of the videographer, and it's a genius idea. And the reason it's so genius is because that's gonna keep all the people that bitch and complain about what happens at winning the video to shut up, and you can see exactly in the description. You can go right to where you want to see it, and then you don't have to complain. So that'll be great for y'all. So we shouldn't even see that many comments. If you're too stupid to read, you can go ahead and watch the entire video and then comment and complain about it like normal. We don't care. All right guys, let's get to work. Logan pulled the engine out of this Corvette over here because we're putting a camshaft in it. And so I spent Sunday night tearing the engine down and getting ready for reassembly. Getting ready to put assembly lube on it, already cleaned the engine up. Got all the surfaces prepped and getting ready to mix this goop up. So we're gonna put assembly lube on the camshaft, obviously, before we install it. And then this is an LT1, this is just a regular Stingray. So it's a little messy, there's no real clean way to do it, but that's all right. Put gloves on. Just throw them away when you're done. Obviously, not just for camshafts, but any engine components, when you take the engine apart and you clean everything, obviously when you first start the engine, it doesn't have enough time to build up oil pressure. So those components are gonna be running with no oil on them if you didn't, put lubricant on there. Assembly lube is just, it's obviously thicker, it's gonna stay on there. It's got really good lubrication properties. So it gives the cam plenty of time to get oiled, the oil pressure, so it doesn't damage anything. So you'll do this on anything on the engine that will see any kind of friction at all. So I put it on even like the tips of the push rod, rocker arm tips, anything at all really. Things like these are where the cam bearings ride, so these are super important. All the little individual lobes are obviously, those are where the lifters ride. So the lifters we have soaking in oil right now, so those will soak for, you can do, some people say 2 hours, some people say 4 hours. Usually if I know I'm putting a cam in, that's just the first thing I do. I just throw them in oil because you can't soak them for too long. So I'll put them in a clean container with some obviously new motor oil, what we're going to put in the car. So it's AMSOIL Signature Series 5W30. So I'll dump the lifters in, and then I'll kind of agitate the bowl that they're in, and you'll see a few air bubbles come out. That basically just primes the lifters, so on initial startup, there's no oil pressure yet, so that kind of fills the lifters full of oil. And then obviously when you put the lifters in, they're going to supply oil again on top of this assembly lube on each one of these lobes. So when you put this cam in, you're going to have to be super careful because it's very easy to nick one of the cam bearings going through the engine. These edges right here, they're not sharp, but it's a pretty abrupt, edge right there. So you can, if you're, not taking your time and being very careful, you can damage it. So you just want to very carefully walk it in there. And I kind of put my hand very close to the plate here, so I can support it. And if you have to stop and set it down, that's fine. You can just let it rest there, pick it back up, and then you can kind of peek through the windows right here in the valley, and you kind of see where you're at. And then if you're not sure where you're at, once you get past the cam bearing, the cam can kind of fall down a little bit. That's where you can nick the edge. So it's real easy. Just kind of watch where you're at in the front, and we can see, right here, we're fully engaged in this cam bearing. So you can kind of gauge on when you're going to be through the other side. So it won't come up as a shock. And if you're not comfortable with this, you haven't done too many of them, and obviously the further we go in, we don't have as much leverage out here to hold on to. So what you can also do is you can take an old cam bolt or have a piece of all thread that's the size of the cam bearing, so you can put it in kind of like a handle if you want to get some more leverage. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll get my piece of all thread and I'll put that in because I'm at the very end. Now if we had like if we had the back plate off the engine, I could just reach right in through there and grab it and walk it in. This isn't all thread, but it is just the stock cam bolt. I'm going to use that for some leverage. And that worked just fine. So you don't need that much leverage. You know, it's just something barely, you know, just to kind of, you know, tilt back and lift it back, you know, for the last cam bearing, nothing major. So this works perfect. And if you don't have all thread or whatever, you can do this. If it's like, you know, if it's not an LT engine and you have like the 3-bolt cam, you can make something. You can weld something up, a little plate with 3 holes in it, or just to bolt to the front of it. It's, you know, very easy, nothing major. Just make sure that assembly lube is evenly distributed across all the bearings. And then that's plenty right there. So every single car that we build, or actually even every single car that we even repair, goes through a pretty rigorous safety inspection process, mainly just to maximize quality control, because we do definitely the majority of the cars that we build go far away. So this is our stage 4R package. You know, stock blower, you know, everything else is, you know, we do these, is probably definitely by far our most popular package. We do a lot of these. Trackhawk, Hellcat, Red Eye, Demons. Actually, the Demons probably, those are usually, you know, more extreme than anything else, obviously. Yeah, so right now I have this in track mode, which I can touch base on that. You know, I personally like the more aggressive setting. I'm not too much on moderation, never have been. But we can, and I'll show you. I test them in all the modes, but so this will be regular automatic. So to me, this is a little, I don't know, boring. You know, the Hellcats, honestly, and the Red Eyes and everything, those actually shift like really well. What I mean by that is more performance-oriented stock. The Trackhawk is just kind of, I guess because the SUV factor, I feel like they kind of dummied it down a lot. So I think I don't know, this transmission just feels mushy. It doesn't shift crisp. It doesn't feel performance-oriented, you know? But it's a different rattle. So even though, I don't know if you can pick that up on camera, that's very, very subtle. So we'll have to address that. And things like that are, even though we do the same cars over and over again, that's a perfect example of why we do so many safety checks. And I'm driving this again because some little bitty minor thing like that might get, you know, slipped through the cracks. And that might be a make it or break it, with somebody being 110% happy with the finished product and loving it and not having a single bad thing to say. Or I like it, but there's this one little thing that's kind of annoying, you know. Space around exhaust is very limited. You know, this is one of the few vehicles that we have to really spend a lot of time making sure that clearance is, because you don't have that much clearance at any one of these any point in the chassis. A lot of them get really close, and when we get it all tightened up, I actually spot weld all the connections, just because if it moves at all, then, you know, it'll start, you know, it hits the body. And even though it could be super minor, an exhaust rattle or something that's touching the body of the car sounds hideous. You know, it sounds like the bottom's getting ready to fall out from underneath the car, even though it's actually really minor. Yeah, nothing crazy. I'm just gonna go. Okay, y'all ready?
Yep.
So that's a 0 to 120. You know, I have to test drive every one of them, so it's like, you know, after, like if we did this 500 times, if the 500 be like, yeah, okay, you know. Yeah, I don't mean to downplay it. It's pretty fast. So that's a 0 to like 120 or 125. I didn't look down exactly at the time. I'll go back and look at a full log of everything, look at shift points, make sure every shift point is exactly where I want it. It's not, the torque reduction is not reducing any torque or any more torque than I want. It's not pulling any boost down, anything like that. And just looking at fuel trims and timing, just making sure it's 100%. So you can tell that vibration You don't notice it as much now because the exhaust is hot. So it's probably something that has basically split the difference in clearance between, you know, hot and cold. And when it's cold, it makes a little bit of noise. And now that it's hot and expanded, whatever it is has clearance. So that just goes to show you how tight the exhaust actually is on these. I think that's why they put that stupid suitcase muffler thing in here, stock. But we'll get it fixed. We deal with this on every single Trackhawk. It's not like anything out of the norm. Okay, so what we got here is a 488 GTB Ferrari. It's bone stock. We did an exhaust valve mod on it and some skid plates. It's a bone stock car, stock power. So what we're gonna do is do a comparison against a regular stage 4R Trackhawk. It's not a Demon Hawk or anything else, so just a standard package, nothing, just one of the normal ones we do. We'll run these together just so you can see a comparison between the two. The Trackhawk is going to beat this, obviously, but you can see how bad, or what the difference is between the two.
I know if they ain't gonna win. I know that. Finally, I get a car that's gonna win.
Okay, so obviously Trackhawk just destroyed this. So what we're gonna do is to try to even it out a little bit. We're gonna go from like a 30 roll or something and just have a different comparison. The Trackhawk destroyed the Ferrari initially. Now, it's pretty hot down here in Florida. I don't wear this tank top just because it's stylish. It's hot here, for all you all. From a dead stop, there's no way that this Ferrari is going to keep up with that Trackhawk. It's just impossible. That Trackhawk has so much low-end torque. Trackhawk started suffering from heat soak, which means the supercharger's getting hot, the intake air temperatures are going up. We had to pull some timing out of it to keep the engine safe. So as the Trackhawk heated up, the Ferrari got closer and closer. And then when we did a 30 roll and a 50 roll, the faster we started the roll race, the better the Ferrari did. And honestly, from a 50 roll after the Trackhawk is hot, if we had kept on going faster than maybe 120, the Ferrari would have probably passed the Trackhawk up at some point. It's aerodynamic and it's more built for top end speed. Today, at the end of the day, Logan, one of our techs here, I'm sure you've seen him on the videos. I'm not exactly sure. I was in the process of working on this Ferrari, so I don't know how this conversation came to be. But by the time they came back to the shop and they're jibber-jabbering about this, Logan has agreed or been willing to shave his eyebrows for a certain amount of money, shave his head in an old man haircut, some different things with his beard. So I immediately thought, hey, this is gonna be really funny. So since everybody's stuck inside and bored shitless with this stupid COVID-19 or coronavirus bullshit, this would probably be a lot of good entertainment. So since we have somebody in our own shop that is naive and dumb enough to do this, we're going to take advantage of it. And I'm gonna be the barber. So what I need from you all is a little bit of feedback on what kind of haircut you want me to give Logan. You can see Logan get humiliated. So this should be pretty entertaining. So make sure you stay tuned. Hopefully you like the video. Thanks for all the positive feedback. We really appreciate it. So make sure if you haven't, subscribe to the channel. If you like what we got, hit the notification bell. See you guys later.